we're in the top 8 now of the Pizza Box Open. And we have the Darkstream versus Sir Hamilton. We're going to have a Gruul matchup versus what's Hamilton playing, Joe? Combo?
Creativity Gearhulk. Okay. So Darkstream here, he's on a boat. He's got nautical theme Pashmina.
He's going fast.
He's got his swim trunks and his flippy floppies. So this is an interesting configuration of Gruul. So the boat lists, the vehicles lists have been around a while. Kalani Ambush is a 25th land fight spell. So kind of interesting to see here. We had Darkstream knock off Azorius Control, the only unbeaten player up to round 7 at that point. So coming in as the first place seed in the tournaments thus far.
That's legit. So he's undefeated as well, right?
No, yeah, 6-1.
Darkstream's 6-1. Okay.
Darkstream was 5-1 facing off against the 6-0 Azorius Control list.
I got you. Okay.
So awesome. The Sir Hamilton's list above is kind of what we've seen for a while with these creativity lists. There's a couple different versions. Obviously, in Pioneer, there is the combo version that is going into World Spine Worm and Xenagod. This version here is looking to just play more of a fair kind of is-it control list with the only creature being Torrential Gearhulk. Now, you do have reflections of the Kiki that can then copy it, and the big target spell here is Indomitable Creativity. 8 mana instant that basically does a whole bunch. Draws cards, taps stuff, deals 4, gives you 4/4, washes your laundry, cleans your house, all that and more that you're kind of trying to cheat out here. So a big kind of impact card in this main deck is the access to Scavenging Ooze. This is a card that kind of varies in numbers in the boat list from 0 to some points 3, 4 in the past. But this is going to be able to control the graveyard element, which is key for Hamilton's approach to the game.
That shuts off Gearhulk, right? Because you want the spell in the grave?
Correct. So Gearhulk will be target effect, so you can wait for them to decide. So what could happen is kind of a dance situation where, they target with Scavenging Ooze, then Gearhulk could come down, but then you can retarget. So just keeping up this green mana will be quite impactful. The thing is, there is 3 damage. So something that Darkstream will want to try to prioritize doing in this matchup is getting that Scavenging Ooze to at least 4 toughness. Just checking now. So there's Prismari Command that deals 2. The Magma Opus, obviously, you'll deal 4, but that's something that's not going to be easily cast. So Fiery Impulse can be controlled. So really, it's just the Volcanic Spite, which they're playing 2 of. 1 has already been cast up this point. An interesting card that Hamilton's playing is Stern Lesson, making the treasure or the Cluestone, whatever they're called, because it reduces the cost of Gearhulk, so you can cast it because it's an artifact.
Oh, sure.
And we see the lesson Power Stone.
There's the Power Stone. Yeah, there's the Power Stone coming in. Okay.
We got Cluestones, all the different types of stones. So normally kind of restrictive in the sense that it only will work with artifacts, but in this matchup, the Gearhulk kind of pays off.
For sure. And we see Darkstream keeping a very neat graveyard over there, tapping mana accordingly.
Yeah, so what we could see, only access to single green source right now. So with Fiery Impulse, they could potentially cast 3 spells, keeping the graveyard, or being able to deal the 3 damage. So they do kind of have an opening. If I were Darkstream, just future turns, just trying to prioritize. Okay, so we see the Prismari come and dealing 2, creating a treasure, so looking to potentially stack some damage onto the Scavenging Ooze.
Or I guess at the very least, just ramp, right? Oh, no, here we go. Okay.
So, big threat out of the way. And I think advantage kind of shifts back to Sir Hamilton here. The Sky Sovereign, while can solo some creature matchups on its own, really isn't that great in this particular.
It's kind of dead for now.
Yeah,
Something's
no
on
way
the
to
board.
crew, nothing to damage, but
Mm-hmm.
big draw there.
Notably sending it back to Day also. It makes the top deck of the Stormseeker, not quite as good.
So it was an interesting decisioning sequence. Obviously, using all your mana this turn over using Stormseeker to then potentially haste out threats. The Stormseeker is easier to deal with. This Gengantha is going to stick.
Stick and it goes back to night. Okay. No land drop for Hamilton. But the Gearhulks are 6 mana, right?
Yep. So
Okay,
Axis, we see at least the 3 damage with Mastery. Unfortunately, due to Arena's great UI, which we don't have, we can't see what I think there's 2 cards in the graveyard, so likely Spell Mastery would be turned off by virtue of flashing it back. But Gearhulk can just ambush Viper. So what we might see here is target Gengantha, and
give a trample.
At least that way it trades with the Gearhulk.
Yeah.
Now some of them do play. Just taking a look. So make this appear. So this one does not have the lesson board. So some of them will play the 3 mana bounce. I forget what it's called. With Learn.
Divide by 0.
Divide by, correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Not a fun card. So maybe going for like the Stern Lesson then? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or whatever that is Stern Lesson. Yeah.
Takes out the big threat.
And you're effectively replacing that treasure with another power stone. So if you have another Gearhulk, you can just cast it again.
Yeah. Slightly less flexible. So you'll notice with Hamilton's list the access to Mutavault. So this is another way with creativity to have a target. So you can activate the creature. Mutavault can pay 1 mana and activate itself and go from there.
We're dropping Bone Crusher. Okay. Wanting to knock over the Stomp, just have the damage on board. And that almost presents lethal. Well, the Mutavault presents lethal, but then he has a Mutavault on the other side too.
So there's also access with the boat. With the Stormseeker,
you give the boat haste, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
And main board, there's no access to sweepers in this deck, so the Bone Crusher, it's a sticky threat. Looking kind of post board, 2 Brotherhoods and in the sideboard.
Okay.
As well as an Aether Gust, which can tag pretty much every impactful spell.
And if you want to target it, you got to lose 2 lives, so definitely decision.
Yeah. Well, you are foregoing the 2 damage on their end step. They do play 4 Make Disappear, so you don't really want to lose out on the threat that way there. Better just present the body, try to close out the game within the next turn or so.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think
for more lands.
I think in this particular matchup, it may be that a couple of weeks ago we were seeing Atraxa being the main target. I think in that particular matchup, like Atraxa is a lot stickier a threat, while more susceptible to the Crone War, which we have 3 of in this list. Outside of a Crone War, this Gruul list can't really attack into, and the life gain swings are massive.
Yeah. Now you could use one of those Power Stones to animate the Mutavault if it was untapped. Also, I believe, correct?
Yeah.
Because you're paying for an ability. Yeah. Okay. So that's also helpful.
Even just from a creativity target, where treasure tokens, you kind of lose out by having to pay the mana into it. These stick around; they're more kind of prudent. So, going into sideboard, we'll likely see the Abrades come in. Unfortunately, Fry only dealing 5 damage, doesn't deal at the top end, but the Oozes, the Clothis all seem really good, kind of coming in.
Abrades coming in looks good to me.
And then outside, so for Is It combo, we're likely going to see access to the two Brotherhood's End. The Aether Gust could come in, as well as likely, I think Shark Typhoon is a reasonable approach here. The other answer is like Hullbreaker Horror is a little too slow. You don't want the counter spells.
Even if you just do Sharknado on one, that could buy you that extra turn, you know?
Yeah.
Not to mention you get to hold priority and maybe bluff a counter while you're at it, you know?
Yeah. So the sideboard configuration of this list for the Is It deck seems a lot more geared towards dealing with more counterspell heavy decks. So we don't see many like cheaper, even just like access to something like an Abrade, just incidentally having a target for Eska's Chariot. There's actually no, well, I guess Prismari Command is a main board answer to the Chariot from an artifact side.
Yeah.
But prioritizing even something like Obliterating Bolt, having access to 4 damage, something of that nature, we don't see any of that kind of playing out.
I'm kind of curious here, Joe, looking at how Darkstream organizes his hand. Notice he goes ascending order to the left in mana value and then lands to the right of that. How do you organize your hands when you're looking at everything?
I usually go kind of just from a curve consideration. So I'll have like the lowest cost on the left and kind of curve out.
Okay.
But I'm an aggro player mostly, so my hand's gone by turn 3.
So you don't get to organize much.
No, I just take the top card of my library and decide am I casting it pre or post combat. Or in Historic, I just say, am I discarding this to Crucius?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, Crucius is great.
How about yourself?
I do it how Darkstream does it, but I do it the inverse way because I like to. I think of it. I read left to right, so I put the lands on the left side, and then the 1 mana spells as far left after the lands, and then go in the order of a curve, like you said. Yeah.
Yeah. So just a sequencing decision here. Darkstream decided to take some extra points of damage early with the Karplusan Forest over playing the Beseju. In this matchup, Beseju is an answer to the Gearhulk that resolves,
for sure,
as well as can, in response to the target of an artifact, a treasure, or whatever, maybe blow it up. So seeing, in case you draw extra lands, using that as utility. In this matchup, you're not going to lose likely by 1 or 2 life points. You're either going to be losing by a lot or running over.
I was thinking the same thing. It feels like if you're, if they're going to get you, they're going to get you, and you're not going to be you're not going to be pinching your life total. You're just going to know that you lost against this creativity deck.
Yeah.
So you're okay to use it as a resource while you're trying to kill them before they can, really get their game going.
Yeah. Another interesting kind of thing. So like, I don't like Lovestruck Beast in these lists personally. Like a lot of them have gone to Miglos, or I find it too situational. Like you having the condition of having the 1/1. While you do have the elves that could sometimes help, there's the Lair, the Hydra, but a lot of the lists, they'll play 2 or 3. They're opting for some number of Mutavaults.
Sure.
If you're blocking with this deck, you're probably not winning anyways. Like you're an aggressive deck.
So you don't use it as a chumper, yeah.
I'm just not crazy about it.
Yeah.
I play like a couple in my paper list, but I haven't tried the new version, so they're playing the Voldaren Thrillseeker as a fling effect in the list, which is interesting.
Darkstream has the Thrillseeker?
No, the Pioneer lists recently have shifted to Voldaren Thrillseeker. So I haven't actually seen that version in action yet, so I don't really have like a detailed opinion on it. But I always find like they can pick off your 1/1s. Like these post board, oftentimes your opponent's going to bring some sort of Brotherhood's End style sweeper. It's easy to kind of control the 1/1s. So interesting decision there, opting to tap out to commit more resources to the board as opposed to keeping up the green mana. And this could come back to punish Darkstream. Yeah. So.
Oh dear.
That line there, They opted to play the Llanowar Elf. They had the answer.
Yeah.
And now they're going to be set back quite a bit.
It looked like maybe the idea was I want to try to resolve my spells next turn and be able to pay for a Make Disappear. So I wanted that 4th mana because I'm not drawing lands. I guess that was the reasoning. But yeah, that is really unfortunate.
I played a lot of This Is It list before Explorer came around in Explorer. In Historic. Yeah. It's kind of always, that was when like the old Gruul Coco lists were around, like the more clean based versions. It is kind of a dance. You do want to kind of hold your ooze up, do stuff end step. If you could control their graveyard, if they're paying full cost for their spells, you don't care as much. But if they're getting 8 mana for free, just completely annihilated the board.
Yeah.
The Ronus will do a nice job here, just kind of brick walling. So we're kind of at a standstill.
Yeah, Ronus was a phenomenal top deck for Darkstream, outside of maybe another land.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got 5/5s into 5/6s. We see Make Disappear come down. And
you almost don't mind that because you made Hamilton use 2 cards right there. So it's kind of like you're technically up on cards for now, but
yeah,
we'll see. You still have to draw into stuff that that's going to turn the tide for you, so to speak.
See an alpha attack here, so this could be just stacking damage.
Yeah.
Take out the Love Struck.
Yeah.
Because even at this point, 1 mana short of hard casting Opus, but could have just access to some.
All right, so we'll do the ooze. Okay.
You typically don't see Ronus in these boat lists either.
Ooh.
Oh, interesting. The Hullbreaker did come in.
Maybe you figured on the play it's a little more reasonable, but on the draw it's probably got to come back out. If we go,
it could just be a default consideration, like post board. You expect your opponent to always bring in some sort of graveyard hate, whether it be Hearse, in this case Ooze, but most lists will have at least 2 to 3 of a graveyard hate. In this case, Darkstream has 5, including Clothis.
Oh, and here's a creativity. I think that might be it.
Targeting the Ronus. That's what do they get? Oh no, they bounce with the Ronus.
Yeah, bouncing with Hullbreaker. Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably it right there.
The moment when you realize that Hullbreaker is not legendary, just seems like a legendary.
Sure isn't. It should have been, but was not. Is not.
All right. So game 3 up. We'll see if any. The Cronin War is an interesting consideration, but just how the stack works with Hullbreaker Horde, they could potentially bounce back the hand, bounce your war. So it seems kind of tempo negative.
It's kind of interesting too. You see all the white and blue creature hate sideboard spells that Darkstream has, and they all like 4 and 5 damage, but nothing to do 6 to the Gear Hulk that you actually care about. It's kind of tough. So those are just, it's like 6 dead cards there in the sideboard that otherwise I think for almost anything else is a perfect option. Yeah. And this is good for Darkstream, or is it, it's like the first time he's had 3 lands in a starting hand.
So the thing is, Bone Crusher's relatively slow. You're not putting any sustained pressure on your opponent. So like either you're going to get tagged by a Make Disappear. The Ooze you're probably not going to want to play out early, as well as you only have 1 green mana for the Ooze. Generally, in this matchup, you want to kind of
have like at least 2. Okay. I see what you're saying.
It's a little tough. Like, I'd probably still keep. We're likely going to just see a Bone Crusher stomp into the hard cast the Bone Crusher.
And it looks like Hamilton mulliganed once, so it's kind of nice if you can avoid having a mulligan.
Yeah. I wouldn't run out the Ooze yet. To me, the Ooze is probably a turn 4, 5, maybe 6 play, especially
for something to be in the grave.
Yeah. At the very least, you want an activation. And so the Stomping Ground's actually really good there. being able to have an activation, at least in response.
Okay. So I think we got to ooze in the next turn or two now that we see an Opus in the bin.
Yeah, because we could see Prismari Command, we could see Stern Lessing, in this case, the Fable token.
And
Alternatively,
no land. Or no, I guess that was turn 3 for Hamilton. Okay, yeah. So good opportunity either for a Chariot or you just drop your ooze now.
I actually think Stomp might be the line here because it allows the creativity to have 2 targets. Depending on what they do, it allows them to ramp. You don't want them to get the attack off because Chariot, they can just throw away, and then that gets into 6
Stomp
mana
that 2/2. Okay. And then you also guarantee your damage getting in.
Yeah.
And then you
can
resolve your
little bit of a risk here.
Yeah. Well,
I would have actually. Yeah. I think I would have just fired up the Mutavault and attacked.
I just went in. Okay.
Because here now, they're kind of playing into into Brotherhood's End here. With the Bone Crusher Giant, if they 1-for-1, they're taking 2 damage.
Yeah.
Where at least next turn, if they do it, then they lose their Fable. So just a little bit of potential exposure here. So
got lucky.
Yeah, that was
okay. So are we dropping the Mutavault and going in with the Stormseeker then?
Yeah, I think actually if you go red Mutavault, play Stormseeker. Alternatively, you can attack in with both.
I think I like playing the Stormseeker. Do you like playing the Stormseeker pre-combat to see if you can get him to maybe play a Make Disappear and burn that treasure?
I don't think Stormseeker necessarily is make. So this is there's no creatures in the graveyard.
Oh, it's unfortunate.
So they threw away their ooze for nothing.
Yeah. Okay, so now you go for the Chariot.
Okay.
Resolves. Okay.
Chariot's a target for, I think, Make Disappear. I think the Stormseeker on its own isn't, just because you have stuff like 1 and 2 mana removal spells that can peg it. It also gets swept up with.
Okay. That's reasonable. So no Prismari Command, and then now you Stormseeker to give. You could do, if you hit a land here, you go Stormseeker, Bone Crusher. Give Bone Crusher haste. You're swinging with the Chariot. It feels good so far now for Darkstream on his side, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Gotta like where you're at.
Thing, just if there is a chance to kind of untap for end step, there is the opportunity to start Kiki comboing, where you can make copies of the Kiki with each other.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and we're gonna lose. I think I'm okay with that if I'm Darkstream.
Yeah, saving the damage. So Liberator is actually really nice.
Yeah. Do you think you hit those Power Stones with Liberator?
No, I would hit you hit Reflection. Get rid of the blocker.
Yeah.
But I guess this pushes heavy lethal because now they're kind of forced to block anyways.
They're forced to block a 4 power instead of a 2/2. Yeah. Yep. And I guess even with the Brotherhood's End, you still don't really like where you're at with the 2 Mutavault.
Yeah, you're dead. So they picked off the Opus, so they would need Gearhulk, ideally.
Yeah, I don't know if I saw what they put in the bin. If they put anything else in the bin.
It's been a bunch of Stern. It's just been Stern Lessons. So Prismari could be interesting here if they end up hitting it.
And I don't even know if I crew with Chariot. I think I might just double spacebar and go wider. Don't even give them the opportunity to,
I think what you can do is crew off the Liberator and Stormseeker. Use Stormseeker on just a random cat.
Okay.
And then what you can do is now you can sack the Liberator to blow up the Reflection now that it crewed. So you kind of just
1 mana. Gotcha.
Almost like a pseudo ritual in a way, right?
Yeah. This is like my first time seeing this deck, so I'm actually learning a lot right now. There's the Gear Hulk. Okay. Maybe a removal spell from the bin then, or Impulse?
It's probably got to be. The problem is you can't target the
Can't hit a Bone Crusher. Yeah. Okay, there you go. Fable. Oh, yeah, get rid of that. There you go. Well played.
All right. Darkstream
Wow.
pushing through. However, what we saw in the last game, all those red burn damage to like blue or white creatures actually have targets in this matchup. Where the last matchup, the Gear Hulk was a bit of a pain.
It was harder, yeah.
Also, a couple Chrome Host Seed Sharks in the sideboard, which is interesting. So Baby Shark Typhoon with Big Shark Typhoon. So to me, this is a mulligan, I think. Against Control, you have 3 dead cards and a Llanowar Elf, which is not ramping into anything.
Yeah.
We'll see if Darkstream shares the sentiment.
Okay. Well, there's an ooze. That's something. Okay. You send back that Crone. Okay.
Yeah.
So we get the elves on board.
So the way this hand's shaping up, these temporary lockdowns will be quite punishing. There is like the hands where you go turn 2, 3 drop. But seeing a channeled set, I don't think there's a card I get more frustrated playing into, like when I get tagged by a Censor.
Yeah. Censor for 1.
It feels like they did the least amount of effort to counter my spell.
Yeah. Like they didn't earn it. And here we go. There's no 3rd land drop for Mob Boss here. So if your counter's coming, it's probably coming against all right, and Rona sticks. So this is interesting.
Yeah. So Ronus will largely just be a do nothing right now. It needs a condition of a 4-power creature. It could pump one of the elves to kind of get that attack in. The bonus is it does leave a body behind against the more traditional sweepers and Supreme Verdict, but having access to Sunfall might be a reasonable approach. Even access to the Farewell against the vehicles could be a good catch.
Oh,
wow.
And then we go for
3 for 1.
Wow, alrighty. Okay. Oh, still stuck on. Wow. Okay. So
that creature line's pretty solid. Yeah, I think you do.
Yeah. Because you want to be able to use that next turn to really get them kind of pretty low here. All right. And then we see Gigantha come into hand. So, yeah, pretty solid. Okay, Sharknado. It's just to draw. Sure. Okay. Because they have to hit that land drop or they're pretty much going to be dead in a turn or 2. Okay. Got the land.
Actually, with access to Field of Ruin, it's a pretty solid answer to this Laro Hydra.
Yeah. And I guess and then Darkstream, obviously, and rightly not even going to animate it, just going for the Gigantha.
And we see that change the equation to 1 of.
Yeah.
Answering here.
So let's beef up our ooze here and make that a little stronger. Okay.
I'm really curious to see if there is a temporary lockdown in hand, just not having access to the 2nd white mana.
Which maybe this turn you may have to Field of Ruin then, and go get your planes. Whether you want to or not. But here we are presenting lethal, so I think now you just do it. Yeah. It's effectively removal at this point, so that works.
Yeah.
Get a red source. Would you got a red source or a green source there? It comes in
so the red doesn't really make too much of a difference because there's not the creatures in the graveyard. Right now, just kind of minor thing. All the red sources were Carpusan forests, so they were taking a damage.
Oh, okay. So you want to get too low. I understand.
Yeah. So
one more.
The big thing here is they can't
Oof.
target the Bone Crusher Giant.
And it just goes right in. Okay. All right.
Even like a turn earlier, just being able to hit that would have been big. But so we see likely boats, wars out, Clothis, Outland Liberator in, could blow up the temporary lockdown, bring in the Fries.
Do you like the rending volleys too?
So the thing is, it's tough because you don't want to overboard and have too much just reactive. At the end of the day, you're still the aggressive deck. The big thing with the Fries is Fry is a answer to Teferi, as well as
you
the
get planeswalkers.
Yeah, Lyra dodges Fry. Boonbringer can target itself with the backup, so it dodges. The one thing that you sometimes will see is with the super heavy versions of the deck, they may trim some number of elves, just because they're pretty late, like late draws.
Yeah.
So my particular version that I play, so like some of the lists will be on Giganta, some don't play Giganta. So I play Chandra 6 Awaken Inferno, and then I've had Torch of Defiance on the side. I don't like losing to Farewell, so I play that. Sometimes you'll see Luca, the Phyrexian Luca, the Gruul one. Because of its mana cost, it's technically playable in a Giganta shell because the third mana is a hybrid, so it's a unique mana cost. So it gets around the Giganta condition.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts that, you say it's an aggro deck, but there's definitely more to it than just that.
Yeah. So then under the control deck, we're likely going to see like the vetoes come out, potentially the censors. They are probably the weakest of the remaining cards. Bring access to like your Angel package, your 2 Aether Gusts, potentially the Seed Shark.
Yeah.
So that this is a slightly risky hand.
Yeah. Okay.
What are your thoughts on bringing in Pithing Needle in these types of matches?
I think Pithing Needle is a great card, personally.
See, I don't like it in a deck. Like, it gets hit by Temporary Lockdown, it gets hit by Farewell, it gets hit by March. So the thing is, it's not like an instant answer. And then they're just going to be able to use their Teferi. So it gets swept up by incidental removal that they're also applying against you. It's not like they're bringing in dedicated hate.
Yeah, the only thing that I like about it is maybe you can force a bad trade on their end where like they feel like they have to do the temporary lockdown before they want to get rid of your Pithing Needle, or they burn their March on that rather than one of your creatures. That's the only kind of thing I could think of, but I do understand what you're saying where there's obviously a lot of answers to Pithing Needle within this deck.
So interesting. Temporary lockdown 1-for-1 with the elf.
Yeah.
And then opting to not stomp on with the mana tapped out. Let's see if they get punished for this and then lose the Bone Crusher.
Maybe Mob Boss wants the Wandering Emperor?
Could be. The Sokuzan will be a nice surprise blocker. Clothis is going to definitely pull its weight here.
Yeah.
Turn 2 Clothis. Well, at one point, a result Clothis was pretty much GG against a lot of these control decks. They now have a lot of varied answers. Farewell, March, just incidental ways to get rid of the indestructible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
they wanted to do a deluge. Okay.
So I think the most backbreaking line would likely be Teferi untap Aether Gust.
Yeah.
And remember, this deck is playing Sunfall. So if Clothis incidentally becomes animated, it will get swept up by that. No shortage of lands this game.
Okay, so they get rid of the deluge, which is great.
So I think I actually like main phasing the Chariot here. because that way you get through a good chunk of damage. Because like this just kind of plays into Emperor.
Yeah. Well, I guess maybe you want to make him use the mana so you can kind of just play your turn how you want.
So for me, like the cats get swept up anyways, and you're not really going to have anything from like a token to copy afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay, so no Chariot. Oh, sorry, no Emperor. When I play Control, they always have it on 4.
Yeah. Well, unless they're... Okay. Okay, so yeah, it's a net loss of 2 there with how that was set up.
It's gonna be interesting because the thing is, like, normally, you take a damage here, take a damage there, but with this Clothis just kind of lingering, there is
and my
kind of a
boss is
shelf
looking
life.
at it. My boss is hovering over it too. Like, all right, when do I have to start worrying about this thing?
Well, I miss Embercleave.
So that just every turn, if there's a spell in the bin, you're going to lose 2 life. That's a great card to have right now. Just puts a clock. Okay, here's our Emperor.
So that's pretty big from a tempo perspective. No access to Stomp.
It's still maybe they wanted to hold up the 2 mana for another counter. There's a Make Disappear.
Oof.
So notably, not playing the land there, you wanted to keep the Shokensan.
I think that's the correct line. Like,
you want to keep the land.
The haste could be relevant. Oh, okay. we see Baby Shark.
Ooh, that's rough. It's tough there. Yeah, it's hard to come back from that, I would say.
Even just from a body perspective, a 3/5.
Boseiju's something here.
But like, are you gonna ramp them to get an elf?
Yeah, it's a 1-for-1 because you had a bunch of tokens. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I would like maybe later game it can hit a Hall of the Storm Giants or Castle Ardenvale.
Sure, that would be helpful. Yeah.
I'm really curious to see how this Seed Shark plays out.
If they have a Shark Typhoon, it could get ugly.
Yeah. The hovering could suggest Aether Gust. Just deciding potentially, do you want to do it let them spend their turn casting it again, potentially tag it with something?
Just do it now. And then we have enough mana to animate our very large incubate token. So Giganta is here. Okay. Animate in response. Sure. Do we play the Boseiju or do we wait? Or no. That would be to... Oh, you can Boseiju the incubator token. I believe because it's an artifact.
Yeah, Moby. That actually works out pretty well. Your end step, you can do that.
Yeah, it's somewhat relevant. I guess maybe you do it now so you don't have to... Yeah. Okay. Not bad. Thanks, Giganta. You made that 1 mana. Okay.
Somewhat of a top deck war.
Yeah.
So this is tough. One of the downsides with this Gruul deck. There's not a lot of recursive value. Once you kind of get rid of your hand, you're very susceptible to whatever the top of your deck is. And when your opponent's last card is Shark Typhoon.
Yeah, that'll do it. All right. Game 3, no changes. Let's do it. Let's do it.
So that's where it's a little tough. Like your late game, you are playing the 8 elves. They're great early, kind of cheating those bigger threats into play sooner, getting under the counter spells. But being on the play here is going to have quite a big advantage. Just getting under something like Make Disappear, for example. Hand looks pretty reasonable. Copperline Gorge, get out a turn 3 Chariot, have access to Den early. Oh, we're seeing some mulligans from Mob Boss here. I'm curious how many lines they're on.
Control, well, maybe 27, at least 26.
Yeah, 27.
27, okay. Okay, well, I mean, definitely a good start, good curve out for Darkstream, so. Okay, going for the elves, and then we'll get a double spell here. Got a nice swing going next turn.
So you can play around Censor, you can't play around Make Disappear.
Yeah. I don't know if I go for the Chariot. Would you go for it?
I think I like.
Oh, you're just gonna animate. Oh, okay. Yeah, I like that too.
So this line is a little susceptible if they have a march, but knowing that they have Field of Ruin, this is kind of your chance to get in.
With the man land, yeah. And you want to do it now if you have March before that taps, because then you're going to have another Goblin to worry about. There it is.
You see the March.
So, yeah, and you can't even tap it for anything relevant either. Okay.
The big thing, so I don't love that line because the thing is, if you just put Gauntlet to hand, they temporary lockdown, you untap with 4 mana. This way, if they temporary lockdown, your play is just play Llanowar Elf.
Yeah, that's true. You don't have a lot going on.
And it might have been a call. They are playing 3 March of the Otherworldly Light, so it is a totally reasonable kind of assumption that that's what would be coming out.
Yeah. Okay.
Could see. So I like doing this main phase because if they do counter, you get access to the Scavenging Goose for an extra point. However, this is playing you slightly further into a Supreme Verdict.
Yeah, which could be, that's 4 mana, right? On a Verdict? Yeah.
White, blue, colorless.
So a white or a blue source untapped next turn could be a Verdict.
Yeah, alternatively, just using the field. So interesting decision there. So that line telegraphs that
you don't have a Verdict. Yeah. Maybe not even an Emperor too, because I feel like you would, if you have Emperor, you let that resolve and just say, come at me and exile it, right?
It's a little iffy there because the thing is that could be the case, but they still have a lot of power on board going wide. So then you're kind of stuck in the situation. Like you're probably still okay because then you could temporary lockdown. They would need a 1/1. So I like attacking first, I think.
Do you just attack with the ooze and the regular 1/1 and leave the mystics? So you could pay for a Make Disappear?
Oh, I think you force through the damage.
We're just going. Okay, yeah. I mean, if the ooze gets 1 more counter, that's lethal next turn if it all connects. So
I think if the damage connects here, I just go Gauntlet to hand, play an elf.
Okay.
Like there's no point of like you have lethal on board.
Yeah. Yeah. It presents lethal, thus forcing a and then what, you Sunfall, but then you don't get to animate it, so you're still kind of in a tough spot.
I think the approach is different if this Llanowar Elf in hand was a card that could single crew Chariot, but not being having a Chariot without anything to do.
Mm-hmm.
It just keeps coming back to the potential sweeper into just your only spell being an elf.
Yeah.
And the line here is actually interesting because even if you counter the Llanowar Elf, it's still inadvertently lethal because of the Scavenging Ooze eating the elf.
Oh, and there we go. They're going to get rid of the ooze. Okay. So that means no temporary lockdown either then. Based on that. So
Missed line drop. I wonder if their hands just like angels.
Like 5 drops and so I don't know if would you play anything here? Maybe just play the Giganta, go for that.
So no, I would actually play the Chariot because the follow if they sweep, then you can cast the Giganta.
You can crew with Giganta. Yeah. And see, they just let him gain 3 life. There's effectively bought another turn.
Yeah, that's rough. Just time locked. Now there is haste, so it is something to be mindful. There's the Storm Seekers.
Yeah, we haven't seen a Storm Seeker in this matchup yet, have we?
Yeah. So there's effectively 8 cards on the current board state that are lethal on their own. Between
as a top deck, yeah. Okay. There's a land.
Forest is not lethal.
Forest is not. No, it is not. Okay, so yeah, I mean, you have to go in, I would think. I think I'm playing the Chariot. I'm going to play the Chariot here. Are you playing it? No?
So Chariot means anything is lethal? Like any creature that's...
Like, yeah. Okay. Now what? Oh, okay.
What is that?
I just didn't have it. It's never had it. That's tough.
Well, you know what? It's probably like absorbs and stuff, maybe.
So we have the finals. We got Ameni playing mono green and the Dark Stream playing this Gruul matchup that you've seen a couple times now in this video. And both players just been getting it done. So this should be a good matchup here in the finals.
Yeah. So Ameni's hand. So I'm hiding out here in Ameni's stream. 2 layer the Hydras, bunch of 3, 4, 5 drops, no accelerant. Mulligans into no plays until 4 lands, Kiora, Pelucranos, Karn. So it'll be interesting to see 2
on the draw. That's tough. Yeah.
Against an aggressive deck. So Pelucranos can Stonewall.
Oh, absolutely.
What's Darkstream's hand looking like?
We've got a couple lands, and we have 2 Dorks, a Crowan, and then a Strangle, and we had 1 Mulligan over here.
Big top deck there.
A mini top deck, the Mystic. Yeah, that's phenomenal. Now we have a Strangle. Yeah, I think that's relevant. I think it's good to go for that. Okay. Just got to worry about not really having much else to do after play these cards here.
Yeah, see, you can keep hands with just all 3 and 4 drops if you just naturally draw your curve 1, 2, 3.
Right. Well, here comes a Love Struck. So this is a nice little board state going on here. And did you say so? The Crowan War takes a creature. Oh man. So if that Kiora comes out. Okay, but if they untap that, play a land, play the Pelucranos, the OGT, and you steal that with the Crowan, that's doing a lot. It's doing a lot.
It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah. It doesn't get haste, does it? No. But still. And we're getting rid of that Kiora right away.
Something to keep in mind of. So there's the trick with the Akron War in this deck. So normally you just give the creature back. Ooh, Bezeju is just drawn for turn. With a Pelucranos to reduce the cost. So it might be a surprise.
1 mana Bezeju.
But what you can do is if you have a vehicle out, you set an upkeep stop. When the trigger goes on the stack for chapter 3, you tap the opponent's creature. With the
so then it's tapped when you give it back to him too.
Yeah.
Nice. I like it.
There's layers.
Okay.
So the one downside is you do kind of telegraph. You have to Bezeju pre-combat because the old growth would likely be coming in.
Not going for it. Okay.
So did miss that.
Yeah, so it's going to stay tapped. We're going to get our lands.
Probably just eats the elf here.
Yeah.
So the way Ameni's been drawing, the next card is going to be Nykthos. The other card is Invasion of Ixalan, which could also find Nykthos.
True.
Another Beseju was drawn for turn. So we got some lands, a Wolf Willow, Cavalier of Thorns. So likely will be opting to take the land, but going with the Wolf Willow here seems to be the deciding, hovering. A big thing will be if this Blue Chronos can flip, which they would be able to do next turn.
Yeah, next turn it flips, and then equally, they have another Haven. Okay, it flips next turn, and then equally, we're flipping this battle this turn too. So
but minor, the battles, flipping the battle is actually pretty. Ooh, so I would have actually attacked with both into the battle, because you are basically dead to the flip now. So if you would have attacked both into the battle, you could blocker this turn.
Yeah.
But how it is now, you're dead to a stomp. And you're just dead. So that's +2 power. So no, you're just alive.
I want to keep the elves back. Okay. Oh, because we have to use it to buff. Sure.
Yeah. The notable thing here is, though, the Gronus will be able to provide trample. So just getting through some additional damage here.
For sure.
This also shuts off the ability to flip Pelucranos because you have to pay the 2 life because you
can't
don't
pay
have
the 2 life. Yeah. Couldn't even pay it to kill yourself. You got to have 2 to do that.
Ameni's just looking through the sideboard, seeing if... Okay, so there is a Pestilence Cauldron. Or a Haywire Might, sorry. Haywire Might, but the problem is Karn gets Might, sacks Might, but there's no target for the Might to sacrifice to. So that doesn't work. Turn too slow. So I think it actually kind of comes back to just attacking the battle with both. You would have had a blocker, would have soaked up 4 points of damage.
Yeah. I don't think I love going face there because it's you get through for 4. It's not a winning play, It doesn't set you up for the future to win the game.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, why actually attack the battle? Just go face with both. I feel like you got to commit one or the other. You can't split there. You either go face with both creatures and get your damage guaranteed, or you go both at the battle. I feel like you can't be half in, half out on that choice.
So let's see what they do here. Obviously, this is just a ramp play. Throw it onto the Wolf Willow Haven. So that's 7 mana that can be generated.
Okay.
Even Silex, you're off some mana. The Wand, you're off some mana.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, it's close too, because if they just had the tokens, you could have ratchet bombed the tokens, so they didn't have 1/1, so they couldn't attack with the Lovestruck Beast.
With Ronus or Lovestruck, yeah. Or no, sorry, it was just Lovestruck, yeah. So
in the end, it actually came down. They had the option to Beseju the saga before Chapter 2 went off. Yeah. So while giving them a land earlier, it would have prevented them from having to attack in, which ultimately was what cost them the game. Because if we see that last turn, they were like a turn off from basically taking over the game.
Yeah, I would agree. And you also give yourself a blocker in that scenario too, which would affect the attack as well. That would influence how Darkstream declares attackers in that turn. Once you get back your OGT, so sequencing very important. Two decisions there for a many that likely, I don't want to say cost them the game, but basically.
Yeah. All that said, like drawing the Ronus was very clutch there because even that last turn, there was the option to potentially chump block. That was kind of rescinded. It also allowed to push through a couple extra points of damage that same turn.
Yeah.
With the trample.
And you said they mulled to 5 on your side?
They mulled to 6. They kept a fairly risky hand, I would say. They really had no plays until the Pelucanos on 3. But
then they drew stuff.
Top picked.
Yeah.
1 mana ramp, 2 mana ramp, and they kind of. The matchup was a lot closer than what the original hand would have
indicated. Yeah. Yeah. Do you like Clothis in this matchup coming in, just for the sense of Storm the Festival, like maybe taking it out of the grave or something?
I do, even just from the sense of a lot of times you can get board stalls, and it's a way to kind of go through. It's very easy for this mono green deck to stonewall you.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we kind of saw that in the mirror, where both players were just kind of.
It was a standoff.
The thing is, like, I'm fairly certain. Like, I'd be shocked if they're not playing the 1 mana equipment. They're not the
Shadow Spear.
They're not playing Shadow Sphere.
That's interesting.
That's like the first one I usually tutor for.
Right. Okay, so we have a lot of dorks and an OGT, and there's the Ixalan. Do you give up an OGT to prevent that from flipping? Or do you give up a Mystic to prevent that from flipping?
What's in the hand right now? It's hard to make that.
Darkstream. Okay, they didn't do it. Darkstream has an Ooze, Colony Ambush, and another Ooze now, actually.
So I would have attacked in. It seems weird to kind of hold it back here.
Yeah, I feel like either way you had a profitable attack, so I don't know. You're on the play here. It's kind of like, all right, let's go do it, Yeah, interesting choice. So now you have good blocking, which is helpful. Oh, another OGT. All right.
Unfortunately, missing the land drop to be able to. So the hand on a many side is 2 Karns, a Cavalier of Thorns, and a Storm the Festival. So likely going to see Storm next turn.
Oh yeah, with 7 Devotion, sure.
I think he has the highest payoff because if you even worst case you hit.
Even if you just hit
another Nykthos.
Like, all right, yeah, or another Nykthos, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you kind of just hang tight. Colony Ambush is an instant, correct?
Yeah, it doesn't. It's just a strict fight, right? It doesn't provide.
Yeah, I believe so. Looks like maybe we're gonna bait a block here to see if we can get in with the Braid, and then maybe buff the Ooze in order to be able to trade with the Troll. I don't hate it, and I'm many not taking the bait.
Yeah, there's also a chance. So with the Old Growth Troll dying, it does touch the graveyard, so there's an opportunity to eat it before it comes back.
Yeah, I like that. I guess the Ooze just makes it too obvious, huh?
Well, at that point, you're at 20 life.
Yeah, just take it.
Especially with you need the Devotion right now. So another Nykthos was hit as well as a Cavalier of Thorns. So I really like that combination. Just being able to find you potentially another untapped land. because then this could potentially cavalier you into another Nykthos. Yeah, untap land was achieved. So you can actually.
And sadly you can't take it in response, can you? Or
so with the cavalier trigger on the stack creates a new stack, so they could have done it in response.
Okay, yeah. So definitely interesting that they don't take it, but we hit 2 layers.
The storm was 4 lands and a dork.
Oh man. But Nykthos starts to get rather meaningful when you have 2 layers. Just for the sense of, you get a beefy guy out there. Okay. Yeah. And this is kind of like you were saying about being stonewalled. It's kind of difficult right now. Gigantha's helpful, of course, but not a profitable attack.
We're seeing that Gearhulk situation, the 6th toughness. So
yeah,
3rd Karn was just drawn.
Wow.
So Old Growth is basically free here. 3 mana in, 3 mana to Devotion. And we actually have enough mana here for Karn plus Portal.
Oh, wow. Well, you sack 3 dorks?
Yeah. Honestly, though, it's not like the worst case scenario. You're choking them on mana.
Yeah. You can ooze to keep the graveyard pretty clean, which is helpful, but you still have to figure out how to win.
You could Mightstone, Meekstone, 5 damage, get rid of Gigantha. You also have access to Sky Sovereign. But going with the big, flashy 9 mana Mythic.
Okay, they go for the smaller ooze and keep a Mystic out. I think that makes a little more sense than what I was saying, just because then you get to you just spend all your green mana taking them, and then now your ooze is actually larger. Oh, and here we go. Here's the Liberator. Top deck for Darkstream. We can get rid of the portal. I don't know if that's the move or seems decent.
Honestly, it might be just deciding.
It's just too much.
It's pretty uphill.
Yeah.
You're answering, like, Portal's already 3 for 1 you, and Karn's going to go get Sky Sovereign or...
Yeah, it's tough.
Nykthos doing Nykthos things.
It does kind of feel like whomever has the play in game 3 in this matchup probably has the best chance.
If we could see like a more aggressive start, while the oozes are good at controlling, they don't apply a lot of early pressure. Like we saw the difference with like a Lovestruck Beast. So this first hand's pretty rough.
We have to mold until we got a mold over here. Oh, mold into a better one.
What about 5 Force, a Lair of the Hydra, and a Llanowar Elves?
Snap keep. So Darkstream opting to put a Scavenger Ooze on the bottom in order to have go Llanowar Elves into the mist, or Llanowar Elves, Stormseeker, Bone Crusher, and a Crowan War.
So the hand
probably
is
stomping.
Yeah. Hand is Lair the Hydra, Forest, Nykthos, Wolf Willow, Llanowar, Elvish Mystic. So dorks on parade.
Yeah. And we have another stomp, so we'll see if that happens this turn or... Yep, looks like we're going to stomp now. Stomp the elves. Play the land. Swing, see if they trade. Probably don't trade. They probably want to use mana because they're on the draw.
Okay, Cavalier of Thorns was just drawn.
Okay. So you go... So that's what? Oh, okay. So Cavalier next turn then.
Yeah.
But we have a Crowan War over here, so that could get ugly.
Oh, especially with the Stormseeker to haste the Cavalier.
Yeah, that could get real ugly real fast. Yeah, Darkstream looking at it like, I'm ready. He's like, play something. Play a big dumb body. I'm taking it.
And Invasion of Ixalan is the last card. Opazeju was milled over.
Oh. And then Darkstream at that turn top decked Aronis. So it's got to kind of feel like kind of pretty grim here, if you ask me. I don't know. What's Ameni's other card? He said Invasion and what?
It's a Forest was drawn for turn, 2 Old Growths, a Kiora, Mystic, and Forest. So
he milled like, okay, well he went and got an OGT, so that's something. Okay.
But at this point, you're not going to be able to build up enough devotion. You said we
got a Lovestruck Beast over here now too. I think that's GG.
Just for Trample.
Ronis with Trample and possibly having haste. I think that's
mana.
Yeah, 1 short here.
But there might be enough regardless, because you have to throw blocks in front of the 2 5/5s. They take 3, so maybe not.
Not quite lethal, but they're in a terrible position, and they have to block the big boys.
Yeah, and they're basically saying you have 1 turn.
Yeah.
The thing is, Old Growth will come back. Does give them some mana, so they can pop it onto this Wolf Willow. So they're ideally going to be looking for Storm the Festival.
Mm-hmm.
And they drew a Forest, so this will be Darkstream's day.
Congrats to Darkstream. Finally taking down a pizza box here. A lot of respect. We know Darkstream's a good player. They definitely earned it.
Cashing in. So that is it.
That cash money on a Sunday, man.
So if you, viewer at home, want to get into the next tournament, there's 3 tournaments that are run each month. 2 standard, 1 Explorer. It's all on MTG Melee. They're free to play, cash prizes. So Darkstream is winning some cash money. Many will get some money for his troubles as well. So make sure to check out the links in the video description. The next 3 tournaments are up. You do want to sign up early. They do fill up. We had over 100 participants today.
Absolutely.
We do want to thank all our sponsors today. Magic Jank. We have MTGA codes. We have Factor. So all the information is in the video description. Check out the sponsors. They all help out to put these fund these tournaments, help with the cash prizes, everything like that. And thank you to the folks behind the scenes getting everything together. There's a lot of work organizing. There's 100+ people. There's Magic players, so no one reads. Nobody reads the cards. Nobody reads the rules. A lot of great stuff. And Numbskull, where can folks find you on the internet?
You can find me twitch.tv/num_skull_. I'm not really on YouTube, but I'm also at Twitter at numskull_ or num_skull_. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, just put the underscores in after each word, and you'll find me. How about you, man?
So I'm predominantly on YouTube. Chances are, if you might be catching this replay on my YouTube as well. But on YouTube, we put out meta content all throughout the week, and then on the socials, both MTG Joe for all of them. The socials are MTGO number 2. Apparently, there's another Joe in the world that got it before me.
Always happens. There's another Numbskull too, so don't worry.
So I didn't go with the double underscore, but
fair enough.
It's a great tournament.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And forgot to mention our host today, Hollywood Pizza.
Yeah, Hollywood Pizza.
Like I said, puts on these great tournaments. Catch it on Twitch for live, the YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, membership, Prime sub. gift donation, gift basket, edible arrangement, throw it his way. And we'll catch you next time.
Send him
Thanks
flowers.
for watching, everyone.
Take care, guys.